I wrote this piece, so I'm gonna do it today because I think it's relevant. At South Bank, they were doing a part of an organisation. They were doing the organisation is called Architects of Our Republic, and they were doing 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, right? So I figured, you know, it's quite a commercial organisation. They're gonna kind of play along with the usual Martin Luther King, "I have a dream, we are all equal now." They're gonna glorify it as if it's a thing of the past and it doesn't exist anymore. And on top of that, they're really gonna concentrate on Martin Luther King's non-violent approach, right? Which is being completely pushed, and his character has been hijacked in that sense. So a youth club that I was involved in, they got in contact with me. They said, "Listen, we want you to write this. We want you to perform at this event." So I thought, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna talk about Malcolm. That's what I'm gonna do. Not to take anything away from Martin Luther King, but just to remind people, you know, that the radical, strong, the idea of violent resistance or violent self-defense is still alive and still necessary, and racism is still alive. So. By any means necessary, whenever you're ready. Times have changed. Let me rewind to the days not so long ago as you may think that our people were enslaved. And I can bet that you just visualize a black and white image with a ship full of Africans in chains, but it's not always that is the case. I could have been speaking of today. Then we'll come back to that. For now, let's go to that place where a long-lived nightmare was a reality we like to ignore, where the black man was an asset to the white and nothing higher or more, with a past on a back full of gore, 300 years of a Holocaust, and this is a time for you to cry and mourn. This is the time we bring the people to life in the sky when it's dawn, because it wasn't exactly sympathy that the Mau Mau were fighting for. They fought so they could reclaim the humanity that was taken from them. How can you call men violent animals after instilling your hatred in them? Put them in cages explaining they are lower forms of the Homo sapien. So justified your oppressive relations to them with the thought that the whiter the skin, the higher the status of men. So now we hate to be reminded of our blackness every time we take a look at our faces again. Being lighter is nicer. It's a thing we seem to accept. But again, I seem to be skipping ahead. And times have changed. We can go further back to the times of Garvey, or a little less to the rise of the Black Panther Party, but let's flip the page and go back to when Malcolm and Martin tried to make us see that your dark skin was a beautiful dream, before racism was paintbrushed under the carpet. So it was after a long period that the youth were asleep, that Martin had a vision, and of course it was a beautiful dream, but Malcolm reminded us that if you have to, then you must shoot to be free. And they call that crude and extreme. But let me enter the mind state of an ex-slave after the trade was abolished. A sign that says no niggers or dogs are a thing very usual to see. And I would love to sit here and listen to explain what the Constitution reads, but words are just words. I demand that you prove them to me. Because though I've had my language, culture, history, name and religion removed from me, love is the best thing that you looted from me. That was my grandfather that saw his wife and children executed at sea, imagine that. So calling the rage of the oppressed irrational, this sounds a little too deluded to me. For how can I expect colourful fruits and leaves once they've already damaged the roots of the tree? So Malcolm wanted you to perceive that your mind is your greatest weapon, and you have the pistol aimed at the chains of your cuffs. So you must shoot to be free. But have times changed? And listen attentively to what I'm about to say. What you see on the surface may have a new face, but deep down underneath the sugarcoating, the bitter taste of reality is still the same. We give our freedom fighters black and brown figures that inspired an uprising and illustrious status in our time. But in our time, nobody wants to actually discuss race. And when we do and we challenge those racial perceptions hidden away, they say that we segregate. And our claims cause distasteful discrepancies if we were to say that history and the foundations of capitalism have left such a legacy that every single one of us still suffers from white supremacy. And that's an uncomfortable term, isn't it? It all gets a bit uncomfortable when we start to discuss white privilege. And don't get it twisted, my comparatively lighter skin tone means I also acknowledge my privilege. Like I'm somehow less animalistic than those darker than me, and partly it comes with the idea that the whiter the skin, the more morally supreme. So I just want you to open your subconscious and question what you really believe. How else can we really be free? And why am I more likely to go inside? Is it that the jury would be more inclined to look for my good intent and innocence if I was white? And I have to be taught through punishment because I'm not so civilized. See, I can empathize with being more able to relate to your own. You can argue, it's only natural, I know. It's just certain views many members of our population hold. You think the immigrated should go? Ignorance has clearly taken a hold when you forget the oppressive ways this nation had grown. Who were enslaved and taken from home? And whose government has always sent troops to take control of a foreign land? Drawn new borders, set us on who's was taking the gold. You call that the victim card, I call speaking the truth, the ruins where the resistance sparks. Cause we fought wars in our minds before they lit up the dark, before ideas exploded and the shrapnel split us in half. Man down, I took a hit to the heart. They were shooting at me, I tried to shoot to be free. Man down, I need a lift to Allah. Cause times ain't changed. Hear it from an African Asian Muslim, trust me I can relate. I could have been just another kid from the estate, slave to the system, instilled with hate. And we tried our hardest not to be filled with pain though. Certain teachers couldn't see past race. Then most police couldn't see past the criminal, they subconsciously see in our face. And that cycle of discrimination could have been the reason half of my friends didn't see past grades. The only way out they could see was money from the C-class grade. And my talk was only talk when I tried to say that we are great. And it hurts that I failed most times. They were good-hearted, so I hope they never change inside. Cause I knew Allah had the key to the jail in our minds, but social conditioning had them destined to fail in their eyes. The history teacher should never take the blame for their crimes, and the way his story told our tale isn't right. Columbus was a power-hungry conqueror who tried to wipe out the native tribes, but still it's like they celebrate his life. So where's the change in times? The United States claim to be humanitarians of the greatest type, but they go to our lines and they take what they like. We got a Black Hawk down with a snake inside, and kids playing on sight. Still I owe the world to the teachers that gave me their time, and to my parents for showing me the way to the light. That I will be a slave to none but he who created I. Everybody has their own story and that's a taste of mine. I believe we can find peace and fight for it at the same time. So in the name of every struggle ever faced in our lives, by any means necessary, we will race to our freedom in these racist times. Yeah, that's it.